WWE broke the news on who's going to be the first inductee into this year's WWE Hall of Fame. What's going to happen tonight between Roman Reigns and the McMahons? Will the carnage continue between Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens? And what exactly will Brock Lesnar be doing tonight on Monday Night Raw? I want to talk more about that on our 5-point preview right here on WGS-TV. Hey, YouTube, are you ready for your hot tag? Because if you are, it's definitely time to warp.
I'm addicted and expensive. Byron Wilcott. And I'm watching WGS-TV.
Greetings, YouTube. You have warped way into another episode of WGS-TV right here on YouTube.com/WrestleGamer. I am the WrestleGamer, Double B Billy Boudreaux. Today is Monday, January 11th, 2016, and what we're going to be doing on this video today, guys and gals, we're going to be taking a look at Monday Night Raw. I got a 5-point preview coming up. We're going to talk about what possibility of what could happen on Monday Night Raw, and definitely with the big news of Brock Lesnar's return. Definitely want to know exactly what's going to happen, because, you know, even though I don't like the guy, he makes headlines, he makes news, and whenever he gets involved in a storyline, it's always something big. So it's really going to be interesting to see what exactly is going to happen. But anyway, let me introduce my guest here on the preview, ladies and gentlemen. You know him as the host of Lance Moss TV. He is a resident music mogul. He is the incomparable Lance Moss. Lance, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, but you don't like Brock, and yet you're wearing a shirt. Explain that.
It's a gift from a family member. She got it for me, and I don't want to disappoint her, because then she'll look at me like, okay, why aren't you wearing the shirt that I got you? So I don't want to make her sad. That's all I'm going to say about that. But anyway, guys and gals, let's go ahead and get the preview started. Now, the first point we're going to be looking at on this preview, ladies and gentlemen, is the first inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame this year. And for once, it was not broke on TMZ. It was actually, the news broke on the WWE app. It was Sting. Now, think about this, Lance. You know, for the longest time, we've heard, you know, Ric Flair being referred to as a 2-time Hall of Famer. And after this year's Hall of Fame ceremony, the exact same thing can be said about Sting. Because remember, Sting was the first inductee into the TNA Hall of Fame. And now he's going to be in the WWE Hall of Fame. So if memory serves me, he's going to be the first person to be in 2 different Hall of Fames at the same time.
Well, depends on how seriously you take the TNA Hall of Fame.
Well, you have a point there. You have a point there, but it's still, you know, a lot of people will probably hold it in the same grain as the NWA Hall of Fame, wouldn't they?
Sort of, maybe, yeah.
But it's still a Hall of Fame regardless.
Yeah, although this has always been a gripe I've had with the past few years of what the WWE does. Now, Billy, correct me if I'm wrong, part of the fun of the, quote, road to WrestleMania is watching Raw every Monday night and the shock of who the next inductee is going to be.
Yeah, it's something we've discussed about the past couple of years about what WWE is doing with that.
And they're leaking it. And yet they wonder why people are slowly, the ratings are dropping. As part of it, you're taking away part of the fun.
Yeah, the anticipation of finding out who's going to be in the Hall of Fame is basically taken away when dirt sheets, TMZ, even WWE themselves break the news ahead of time for the Monday Night Raw, and that's definitely a very valid point when you look at it. WWE has really ruined that anticipation of finding out exactly at that point in time on Monday Night Raw who's going to be in their WWE Hall of Fame class for that year. Now, with that being said, I'm still not disappointed with the fact that a huge legend in the industry. Yeah, it's not really a huge disappointment because Sting rightfully has earned his spot in the WWE Hall of Fame.
Oh, hell yes.
So that's definitely going to be something to see. But anyway, let's move on to the next big point on our preview, the Roman Reigns versus McMahon storyline. If you guys didn't see Monday Night Raw last week, first off, what rock have you been living under? And secondly, the whole storyline now is that the McMahons have put Roman Reigns in the WWE Royal Rumble match to defend the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, this hasn't been done since WWF 1992 when Ric Flair won his first ever World Wrestling Federation Championship. And after that year, from 1993 on to last year, the Royal Rumble has been used as a catalyst to one would say, have one half of the main event for WrestleMania prepared. And it's been done year after year after year. And now WWE is going to pretty much just toss that storyline out the window and now make the Royal Rumble for the World Wrestling, the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I nearly said World Wrestling Federation Championship, believe it or not. The WWE World Heavyweight Championship. Now, with so much controversy, especially with the involvement, there was a news story that a lot of the NXT talent are really unhappy about what's going on because the current storyline involving Triple H, Lance, was the fact that he is supposed to be out from injury for what happened on Roman Reigns. But we all clearly saw him at the NXT TakeOver London event, kicking off the show, and a lot of people are unhappy about that, especially with the way they're not really sticking to the storylines with that. But with that being said, do you think that WWE Creative would insert Triple H into this storyline and then take Roman Reigns out of the Royal Rumble match?
That's definitely a possibility because let's just say he wins. What determines who the number one contender is going to be? But if they do the quote screw him out of the title, it sets up for a main event for WrestleMania because let's face it, when a champion loses their title, and this is a rule in wrestling as old as damn time, they get an automatic rematch. So that would
go ahead.
Which would lead up for WrestleMania.
But here's another thing to take into consideration, because that's really going to tie into our next point on the preview: the return of Brock Lesnar to Monday Night Raw. And if memory serves me from last year's WrestleMania, well, he did get his rematch, if I'm not mistaken, because that's when The Undertaker came back, and that's really going to toss my point out the window, so I do apologize about that. But, anytime that we see Brock Lesnar on TV, it's always really in a huge angle. The last time we saw him was the ending to the huge feud, the historic feud, one would say, between him and The Undertaker. Now, the Hell in a Cell match could have been a bit better than what it was, but, we're not going to take it for granted because of the fact of the nostalgia value of Brock Lesnar versus Undertaker. Now, be that as it may, especially concerning my personal opinions, I'm really interested, Lance, to see what exactly they're going to do with Brock Lesnar tonight, because whenever they use a big name like him, they're always going to do something big with him.
Yeah, it's almost like they might be trying to set up for an angle for Mania already with him, and they very rarely start angles for Mania up this early. And the one I don't want them to do, we don't need to see Taker versus Brock at Mania again.
It would serve no purpose, since the Hell in a Cell match was supposed to be the last match these two were supposed to have. So I think, but if WWE wants to be stupid, and as of late, Creative has been incredibly stupid at that, I wouldn't be surprised to see that, to be honest.
Yeah, this is how I can kind of see it. Taker comes out saying he wants his revenge where it went down, where it happened, or something like that.
Yeah, and again, for one thing, we don't need to see that. The storyline's already played out. they even said that the Hell in a Cell match was supposed to be the last match in the feud. The last match, the final chapter in the feud between Brock Lesnar versus The Undertaker. And, so that's something that does not need to happen. And I repeat, WWE Creative, it does not need to happen. The final chapter already happened between Brock Lesnar and The Undertaker. We don't need to see it again. Now,
then again, then again, once in a lifetime happened twice.
Oh, yeah. And as much as a Cena guy that I am, I even hated that because that was ridiculous. Because once in a lifetime, now it became twice in a lifetime. It was ridiculous. But speaking of that, let's go ahead and get to the next preview, point in the preview, and that's Dean Ambrose and Kevin Owens. These guys went all out on Thursday Night SmackDown, and I know that you're not a proponent of watching a SmackDown match, so let me just bring you up to speed as to what they did in that match. Basically, the Intercontinental title match went to a double countout, and the fight went all over the place, and it ended up with Dean Ambrose lunging himself at Kevin Owens into the tech area, and both men went through, I think, about 2 tables in that point to end Thursday Night SmackDown. So one of the things I said on the review, Lance, is that it looks like they're extending this feud to possibly conclude at the Royal Rumble, but the way they're working this feud is it can't be a normal match. It would have to be a stipulation in the match.
Yeah, like the way, let's face it, Dean Ambrose fights, it's got to be like no DQ, last man standing, falls count in, or something like that.
Street fight.
Yeah, but then again, the way WWE thinks, they'd probably turn it into a I quit match or something.
And you know what? From that perspective, it wouldn't be that bad of an idea, considering the nature of the match. And you don't technically have to. It doesn't technically have to be a submission hold to make someone say I quit. I mean, if you think back to JBL and John Cena, and when they had their I quit match, what made JBL say I quit? I believe it was Cena removed a huge metal pipe and was threatening to hit JBL with it unless he said I quit, and that's what happened. So they could possibly take the violent nature of that match and possibly correlate that into the storyline, but only time will tell as to what exactly they're going to do. But the final point on this preview, ladies and gentlemen, is the whole situation with Becky Lynch and Charlotte. Last week on Monday Night Raw, we saw the complete heel turn of Charlotte on Monday Night Raw, and with the attack on Becky Lynch. Now, they had their title match, and Charlotte took the dirty route. She did the dirty pin on Becky Lynch to retain her championship, and that's something we've seen Ric Flair do for years in WCW, in the NWA, is the old classic feet on the ropes to retain the championship. And now Charlotte is basically emulating her father, and I would hate to see this feud die as quickly as it started, Lance, because for one thing, it was making a Diva storyline interesting, and I really want to see where they go next with this.
Yeah, I mean, something like this, I don't mean to jinx it or nothing, I could see this lasting till Mania. This being, and then this getting more personal and more personal, or the feud just getting more intense and more intense, and something to actually be a fitting semi-main, because we all know they tend to like putting a Divas match right before the main event at WrestleMania. So this, if they could build it up to where it would fit that slot, freaking perfect, and I see a lot of potential in this.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why there's a lot of potential in it is the fact that we know Charlotte can work in the match, and we know that Becky Lynch can work in a match, and one would say much better than anything the Bellas could do. So it's definitely going to be interesting to... I'm sorry?
No shit.
So it's really going to be interesting to see where they take this from here. But what we want to know from you guys out there, the viewers and subscribers, what do you think about what's going to happen on Monday Night Raw tonight? Again, I repeat, we talked about Sting being inducted into the Hall of Fame, the Roman Reigns storyline, the return of Brock Lesnar, the Dean Ambrose Kevin Owens situation for the Intercontinental Championship, and the Becky Lynch versus Charlotte storyline. What do you guys think about what we had to say? And what else do you think we could see on Monday Night Raw? Could Kalisto get a chance at the United States Championship due to his win over Alberto Del Rio on Thursday Night SmackDown? That's another question to take into consideration as well. So we want to know what you guys have to say. Be sure to put your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Lance, what can fans expect to see when they come visit your channel over on youtube.com/LanceMossTV?
Album reviews, NASCAR discussion videos, Brendan Gorman cooking videos, musical equipment reviews, some rants. I'm fixing to be doing a guitar build here within the next month or so, month or two, something like that. And every Wednesday, I go live with Lance Moss TV and friends, where I never know who's going to show up. So subscribe if you haven't, and hit me up on Twitter. It's @Lance Moss TV.
WGS TV is on social media, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You guys can ask me questions. Links will be provided in the description box below. And as always, guys and gals, I'll have a couple of videos, any annotations at the end of this video for you guys to check out as well. So with that being said, for the incomparable Lance Moss from Lance Moss TV, I'm the WrestleGamer. WWE Royal saying we'll see you at the next episode. His existence inside my head, the stone of wisdom inside my head. January 13th, 1876. I can see myself. Ah, there's the there! There! Run! Run like shit!